Zach, Jeremy Grant is one of the players that Woj mentioned. Should that signal anything about what is bubbling in Portland?
Not necessarily, but by the way, I want to spin the wheel again. I feel like I got ripped off by the Bucks. We already talked about the Bucks. Jeremy Grant, look, they traded for him. Dame asked for him. They were Team USA teammates together. I think it was always going to be a done deal that they were going to bring him back or close to it. Does this mean anything for Dame? That's not an addition. That's a guy that was already there. I think they're going to need to show him a little bit more. But and I think even in the event Dame leaves, they're okay having Jeremy Grant on their team if they can move him at the number he's re-signed at. He's still relatively young in the middle of his career. No harm, no foul.
Here's the thing. We were talking about this with Brian earlier. What is the team, the realistic team that could be built around Damian Lillard that all of a sudden signals, all right, now is the time. Now we feel good enough. Do you see them being able to get to that place, Perk?
I do. And they need more adults on the bench. I think when you look at what Jeremy Grant and Dame and Anthony Simons were doing earlier in the season, the first part of the season last season, they were on fire. Like, Portland was in the thick of things. All of a sudden, injuries hit. You know, you saw Dame go down, and then Jeremy Grant went down, then Anthony Simons went down. So when I think about it, and you run Big Nurkic, look, the biggest thing about Nurkic is him actually being in shape and him buying into being that defensive anchor. Because he can hoop. He can hoop when his mind is made up.
No,
I'm saying, here's why. Because I'm saying we just watched two teams that showed that, especially in the Miami Heat, you could get stuff done. Long as you have the right player development, the right culture. And Chauncey Billups, that's my guy, but the pressure is on him to demand that locker room and get the best out of his players as well.
Damian Lillard had arguably the best individual season of his career last year. He averaged just over 32 points a game. He was great. Dame was great. But I'm just wondering, when you look around the West, is that enough? Is Nurkic being, and that's kind of my question, is if Nurkic is at his best, if Jeremy Grant is back, Anthony Simons continues his upward trajectory, you have Damian Lillard coming back at that level, I'm still looking around and saying, well, but what about Denver? Because that's the standard.
Well, no, but you can't just build. You can't just say, okay, I need to build a championship team. We don't know what Scoot Henderson is going to be. That's a great question, Malika. When I look at it from a standpoint,
Scoot, of course.
Like that's what I'm saying. When you look at it from the standpoint of Shaedon Sharpe and the young pieces, the question is, and we make it such about championships. Right? It's not about championships.
Fine.
What it's about.
To me, for Dame, it's like, I want to get to the playoffs, not be a 7 or 8 seed, and then I want to go and play my best against the best. That's what it's about. Because if you look at some of the years that they lost, they were losing to the Golden State Warriors. They were losing to very, very elite championship-level teams. So that's not, there's nothing to, but I'm not big on this. Yes, his numbers were elite last year, but we knew that they were in a flux. They basically shut him down at one point in time in the season.
Right, but considering the abdominal issues he was coming off of, all of that, to see that he was able to get back to that place. So it's not championship or bust, but it's believed that we have a group that can win a championship, at least be in that conversation and compete
that's what he
for
said.
it.
There's only 6 teams that are competing for a champion. There's only
Isn't
6
that what
teams.
he's saying that he wants?
But he said
you didn't think the Miami Heat was competing for a championship last year.
Well, they went to the finals the year
Okay,
before.
but you didn't think last year that they was competing. You wouldn't have had them. If I would have asked you to give me your top 6 teams, you wouldn't have put the Miami Heat in.
Okay, well, they made a historic run, and we're going to depend on historic runs from the Portland Trailblazers. I'm just saying, when I look at Jimmy Butler, who's been to the finals, when I look at that roster and all of those guys that have been to the finals, right? Bam Adebayo. I look at a group that has done great things. So, like, yes, you might weather a little bit of a storm because they were banged up last year in the Miami Heat, but ultimately, I look at the Portland Trailblazers, and can Dame be the best player on a championship team? Nobody's asking that question. Nobody's asking that question.
Just asked it.
I'm asking.
Let's bring Bobby Marks back into the conversation here. Bobby, what do you see as realistic?
Right now, as you're looking at bringing back your own free agents, and you look at where Portland is right now, because of Jeremy Grant's cap hold, they're projected over the salary cap. I know we're showing $14 million there. So if you bring Jeremy Grant back, let's say at a contract of $25 million, you are now over the salary cap, and now it's going to be a matter of potentially a player like Matisse Thybulle, who's right here, and it's all about focusing on your own players. Remember, they owe Chicago a first-round pick in 2024, basically for the next 4 years. For them to move a 2026 first, they would have to lift the protection off that first. So they're limited as far as draft assets right now, but if they're going to make a trade, it's certainly going to be centered around Anthony Simons, but right now it's basically Jeremy Grant and Matisse Thybulle.
As a superstar, Damian Lillard has been about everything you could ask for. He's been patient with an organization. He's waited. He's seen what moves they're going to make. He hasn't come out and said, you need to move me now. It seems like he wants to see what this organization is going to do and if he feels like they can win. I just am not sure.
That's been the last 3.5 years.
And, Perk, you're absolutely right. The priority for the Lakers, we just heard Rob Pelinka say, okay, we need to look in-house at some of our guys, but what's the priority?
Emily, I'm told that at 3 o'clock today Pacific and a fraction of a second, there would be a 4-year, $52 million max offer awaiting Austin Reaves. Now, it's the most the Lakers can offer him. Now, if an outside team decides to put up more money, the Lakers are prepared to match that as well. He's a restricted free agent. And if Houston wants to put up $100 million in front of him, or San Antonio wants to put $100 million in front of him, I'm told Lakers will wait until July 6th, the very last minute, to hold up that team's cap space and then match it the last second. So buyer beware if you want to mess with those Lakers plans to get Austin Reaves. And beyond that, they've opened up the full mid-level exception, about $12.5 million. They're going to go, see if they can get a championship-level impact immediate player like a Bruce Brown. Maybe Brook Lopez. That's probably too low of a market for him. Or they could split it up and retain a guy like Dennis Schroeder. I spoke to him. There's a story on ESPN.com. He wants to remain with the Lakers. He hopes that his second stint proved that he has more value to this team, and he wants to see them hopefully reward him for his impact on last year's team.
Let's go back to Austin Reaves real quick. You said that offer will be
4 years, $52 million, awaiting right as the buzzer opens on free agency.
So we were calling him Himmy yesterday. Kendrick Perkins had big 3 graphics all over the place. It included LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reaves as a third member of the Lakers' Big 3. How important is retaining him?
Critical. It's the number one most important thing of the offseason. And he is the third best player on the team, and he's really, really good. He's a good defender. He's a good passer. He draws fouls. He can take some of the offense from LeBron and run pick and roll. And look, Dave mentioned the mid-level exception that they could use to get a player, 2 players. I think this team is really good. I mean, obviously, they're always dependent on the big 2 staying healthy, LeBron and AD, but that's for everybody. I think what they did after clearing Russ away and retooling their team was legit. They were a real good team, and they're going to get a chance to add another player or 2 to that team.
Yeah, we forget that this team was only really together since basically the All-Star break, right? And LeBron was hurt for much of that stretch. It's funny, I was driving in Westchester. I saw that billboard with Austin Reaves promoting some law firm, and I was like, ooh, Austin Reaves going to get the bag. But we forget, we need to see this Laker team for a full season and what they can do. I mean, LeBron was really happy with it. And the Denver Nuggets, I was around them all during the run. They knew the Lakers gave them probably their stiffest challenge.
The question is, if they bring everybody back or close to everybody back, is that enough? I mean, they got swept by the Denver Nuggets, and I know they didn't have everybody there, but is there still some more tinkering they can do, as I think Robert Pelinka's wording was, at the margins? Is that enough? Is that enough to get past Denver? Because Denver wasn't close.
Real quick, Dave, that number for Austin, what impact, if any, does that have on Rui Hachimura?
Well, he's also a restricted free agent, so the Lakers are going to be able to put up a offer somewhere in the $15 million range, they would hope, and then we'll see if another team, again, the Lakers have been signaling to everyone who's listening that they intend to match on both those guys. So it would be buyer beware again with Rui Hachimura. If another team was to put an offer out there, the Lakers could match it. And then the next name is D'Angelo Russell, of course, because the Lakers, they are dealing with an unrestricted free agent there in D'Angelo Russell. But as we look around the league and teams that have cap space, there might not be that much of a market for D'Angelo Russell. And the Lakers potentially could get him at a bargain compared to maybe the $30 million number he was looking at going into this offseason. it could be around 20 million.
Well, guys like D'Angelo Russell are the ones that I think you're going to see the most effect from the new CBA. The guys who are making $30 million or being accustomed to making at that level. He's a really good player. They went out and got him for a reason. He won them some games. I know that Denver series wasn't good for him, but if you can get him on a short-term contract, maybe 15 to 18 a year, 20 million a year, that's a bargain for a player of his caliber.
Let's turn to a former Laker in Russell Westbrook. What are the Clippers' plans for him?
Well, the Clippers want him back. And I think Russ, he told me he loves playing with the Clippers, and it feels like a home for him. Love playing with Paul George, love playing with Kawhi Leonard and for Ty Lue. But he's also going to see what he can get on the market. As he said, he was like, this is one of the first few times I'm actually a free agent and I can control my future. So he's going to look and entertain offers. I think his party would love for him probably to stay with the Clippers because they feel like it's a really good fit. Maybe take a one-year deal and then see what else he can get after that. But I do think Russell Westbrook is definitely going to listen to other offers and see what's on the market. And then he's going to have a decision to make whether he's going to take a little bit more money or he's going to stay someplace where he likes playing. And then, of course, we also have to see, do they upgrade at point guard in a trade like for James Harden or whatever? But I was told that even if the Clippers were to somehow land James Harden, they would still want Russell Westbrook back because that would also bolster the rest of the roster.
We've seen that movie before, Zach. Do you see that playing out if it is James Harden and Russell Westbrook together?
If it's those two and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I mean, this is like LA royalty all on the same team in LA. Yeah. That's a lot of cooks in the kitchen with a lot of different skill sets and three guys who really like to have the ball in Russ, Harden, and Kawhi. And by the way, I just want to say, we're talking around it because they're sort of on the fringes of this conversation about all these West teams building up. Let's just say it outright. Everyone is chasing the Nuggets, and it's not close. I mean, that team is awesome. They have continuity. That said, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to chase the Nuggets. You don't cower in fear of a team like that. You go for it. And I think all these teams are going to put themselves in position to at least say, you know what, we did our best. Let's go at them.
Well, Zach, that's one thing. The Clippers saw how Denver had that continuity, how they took the regular season seriously, how they were number one in the West the entire time, and they understand, look, their two stars are not available all the time. That's the one thing Russell Westbrook brings. He brings availability. That is one of his best strengths for the Clippers because he always plays. And what Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they play like 41, 42% of the regular season. They need more of that.
And how can the Lakers make up some of that gap with the Nuggets? Getting Bruce Brown. The Nuggets lose Bruce Brown, you add Bruce Brown. That would be kind of a double-layered addition.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.